Hi, this is Aaron Eisberg, Nog from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and you're listening to Beyond Trek. You can follow them on Twitter at Beyond Trek Pod and on Facebook at Beyond Trek Productions.
This is Beyond Trek Podcast, your source for Star Trek on social media and around the web. I'm Big J.
I'm Marie.
And I'm Dag, the Trivia Master. You can find us on Facebook at Beyond Trek Podcast and on Twitter at Beyond Trek Pod.
Red alert.
So, yeah, we're going to be talking about these top 10 Star Trek Voyager memes that I found on Screen Rant. And
This is really cool, by Kaylina Pierce Bowen, published on July 17th.
So, yes, it's Star Trek 10 hysterical Voyager logic memes only true fans understand. And by is that Kaylina Pierce Bowen on July 17th? Oh, Kaylina. Gotcha. Thank you. Thanks for that, Marie. So Star Trek 10 historical Voyager memes. Let's see. If you don't mind, I'd like to start with this first one, starting at number 10. So
Let's do it.
All right. Let's settle in. You got your adult beverages.
I do. I have wine. Red wine.
You have red wine. Oh,
I do.
Okay.
What are you guys drinking?
I am drinking beer.
Excellent. Big J?
I have whiskey and Coke, which is my favorite.
Those are both classics.
So by the time we get to number 1, we may be a little, a little worse for the wear.
Right. It's a perfect post about this because it already frustrates me when I first open it. Did you try opening this on your cell phone?
No. What kind of maniac would try to open that on their cell phone? You'd get killed with ads. Oh, is that what happened?
It is exactly what happened. And so I haven't even really had a good chance to look through all this. So you'll be getting my first impressions as we go along.
I thought you had a computer.
Well, I do. So it's first impressions as we go down on it. But I'm never on my computer, Big J. I'm always just on my phone.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you guys don't mind, while you're getting it pulled up or whatnot, I've already got it. So let me read you the first one. So it's we've got Janeway, everyone's favorite captain, Janeway, just kind of looking, I don't know, non-pleased. So here's what it says. Tentacled beasts that breathe vacuum are tearing the ship apart and devouring the frostbitten corpses of our jettisoned crew one at a time, like some sort of twisted hors d'oeuvres. And the bottom part says, hold your fire. They may be trying to communicate.
Oh, boy. Yeah, she definitely gave a lot of benefits to the doubt on that.
Yeah, I mean, she would give leeway to, any of the aliens because it's her curiosity. Because if you remember, Janeway came from the science part of Starfleet,
Right.
and in Star Trek, I remember that kind of being unique in regards to seeing a captain that was not in the traditional command. I don't think we ever saw. Well, we did see a engineer-oriented captain. The first time was Scotty when he got promoted at the start of Star Trek 3, and was going to be heading up the Excelsior project, like the finishing touches on the transwarp drive. And yeah, I guess Spock counts before that because Spock was on the science side, and he became captain of the Enterprise after the second 5-year mission. Second 5-year mission, which is kind of semi-canon. The second 5-year mission was after the Voyager incident.
Mhm.
That's mostly in like the books and the comics, but yeah, after that was done, and Kirk retired again, or just went into the academy overseeing, Spock was promoted to captain. So, but for Janeway having a scientist as a captain, and I think that was kind of I don't want to call it a failing of her, but I think her curiosity got them there in the first place. Honestly.
Dag, what do you think about this?
I know you guys are speaking English, but I'm trying to figure out if you're communicating.
He's had too many beers.
Too many already.
And we just started.
Well, it's the perfect time for it. We're Thursday, Thirsty Thursday, and what better
Friday Eve.
Yes, Friday Eve.
Janeway was right. There are aliens out there that speak by eating. I speak by drinking.
Hey, everyone has their form of communication, right?
They do.
How about we move on to number 9?
Murray, you want to take this one?
Yeah, you got it. If
So
you
number
scroll past
9.
the ads on your phone, yeah, if that'll pull up.
Well, Big J, I'm on a computer now, but during the week when we're discussing this, I was just on my phone and I have to rant about this for a second because it was the most clickbaity site.
Screen Rant? Oh yeah.
I can't believe it. Like, how is anyone supposed to navigate these without throwing their phone?
Well, and I wonder why that's a phone thing, because whenever I'm on the phone, I have to be very careful about scrolling because I'll accidentally hit my thumb on an ad that pops up and traps me right before I try to scroll. But on the desktop, it's like there's no problem. So I'm not sure. I thought that was just me, but you're seeing that too.
Right, absolutely. Well, going into number 9. So thanks for listening to my rant, by the way. It was just awful.
Hey,
The
anytime.
computer version is much better. So it says, always an ensign, never a lieutenant. And so we have Harry here, and he's giving like a look kind of like mildly annoyed. And he says, works hard for 7 years on ship stranded in Delta Quadrant as a model Starfleet officer. Builds astrometrics lab, has been captured and tortured on multiple occasions, multiple shuttlecraft accidents, has his genetics manipulated by aliens. Ooh, yeah, I remember that. Died. Has been irradiated, has been shot, has been back in time and in other dimensions, sucked into space and killed, had possibly less sex than Geordi. Still an ensign.
That just hurts. I mean, I like how we go through this whole list of stuff that he's gone through, and then suddenly died.
Died.
Like that's not even the worst thing that's happened to him. It's possibly had less sex than Geordi.
I'm glad they put that last because first of all, he's really, really good looking. He's cute. He's smart. He's sweet. He's like kind of like, I mean, as a woman, looking into it, he's probably one of the most dateable characters on the show. And how
Really?
come? Well, at least for me, I don't know. I'm speaking for all women, of course, but for me looking at him, he's probably the one that I'd be most interested in.
I mean, I'm not saying that he's not a handsome man. It's just I don't know. Like I've seen as a more, I don't want to say more handsome, but like, and I'm not saying he's not attractive. It's just you saying that kind of, I would have thought you were more of the type of the Chris Hemsworth, Hollywood leading man type of,
I mean, don't get me wrong.
picturesque.
Those
Right.
guys are
You're not
nice
going to
too.
turn them down either.
No, but I mean, Harry, he's sweet, he's smart, and he cares, and that makes a difference, I think.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, he went through so much crap on that ship, and so a former con, an ex-con, gets promoted,
Mm-hmm.
demoted, promoted again.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Tom Paris, all while he's just a lowly ensign. And it was funny. There was an episode actually where the Voyager was getting some letters from home, some communications because they were using the big relay that the the guys that tried to take it over, the big guys, the Herodian. So they had taken that over and were using that, and Harry's parents were on. So he's talking to his parents, and his mom brought that up too about not being promoted, and he says something like, "Well, it's a small ship. There are only so many rooms, so much room for promotion." And so his mom offered to said she talked to the captain for him.
It's a small ship. There are only so many command positions available.
This Captain Janeway sounds like a lovely woman. Maybe I should write her.
Which
Mom!
it's a total mom thing to do, but that's
Right.
that's not really going to work. Well, the only time he got promoted was if it was an alternate universe or a different timeline, or when it didn't matter. So I guess pour one out for Harry.
We're just going to have to write a fanfic that explains why, he is an ensign.
Let's do it. We can just take a drink in his honor.
We should. We definitely should. Oh, and Marie, going back to you saying, how good looking he was. Did you know that going into the fourth season, so they needed to boost ratings. The ratings were kind of wobbling a little bit, and in Rick Berman and Brandon Braga's ever wise decision, they decided, all right, to get these ratings up, we need someone that's very attractive, very ample. We need to go for that, that teen, early 20s demographic. That's where they got Jerry Ryan, and so it was going to be kind of a full cast. Basically, they were going to trade. It was either going to be Garrett Wang or Jennifer Land that was going to go, because they didn't. I guess they felt, well, if we're bringing on 7 of 9, she's going to be the new focus, and so we don't need both of the other two. Someone's got to go. And for the longest while, it was going to be Garrett Wang. We were going to lose Harry Kim to one of the multiple deaths, sucked out of space, shot, et cetera, et cetera. But then he was voted. It was the most handsome. Was it Time or no? Was it TV Guide's most handsome man of the year?
Mm-hmm.
And so he got this award, and the producers decided, all right, we got to keep him because it was that instant publicity. So that was why Kess was written out.
I think they made the right decision there, but I'm biased.
Yeah, I do. I think it was right, because when I did a rewatch of Voyager a couple years ago, and I had seen it when it originally aired, most of it, and I'd kind of forgot. Just I didn't really care too much for Kess, nor the dynamic between Kess and Neelix. I was just, to me, I felt like Neelix grew and got better once we got rid of Kess.
I just was never a fan of her. I don't know what it was about her character. Maybe I'm just extra critical about it just because of her relationship with Neelix, but it just didn't interest me. And when she was gone, I didn't miss her.
Jay, I think you highlighted why Harry Kim is still an ensign. You see, in the original timeline, the writers got rid of Harry Kim in favor of Kess and brought 7 of 9 aboard. And then when Harry Kim returned to the Voyager in Fury, he destroyed not just Voyager, but all of the writers. And so they had to go back in time, change their decision, and keep Harry Kim, because when Kess returns to Voyager in Fury, she gets to watch a hologram of herself and leave in peace.
Oh,
I like
boy.
that. I like that theory there.
I like
Now,
that too.
Before we go on to the next one, I just want to give you one more little thing about Harry Kim, and this is more of like a Dag's Trek trivia, the Dag the Trivia Master kind of thing. So Dag, you'll love this. Did you know that the Harry Kim we have in season 7 is not the Harry Kim we had through seasons 1 to 6?
I did know that. He got replaced with his...
In the episode Parallax, he dies and is replaced by his other self.
Right.
But Parallax happened in like season 1. So what happened in season 7?
Let's
Hold on, man. Let me. Yeah, it was. Let's see. Hold on, just a second. I'm looking on Memory Alpha because I'm trying to recall if it was towards the end of season 6 or beginning of season 7. But yeah, I know that.
You know what? Dag's wrong. It's not Parallax.
Yeah, it definitely was not Parallax. I'm just. I can't.
How many times did he die?
You're gonna have to take my word on that
The
one.
episode Deadlock, he dies. He and his alternate universe self brings the infant Naomi Wildman, who died in the original timeline, through a breach with him.
Well, yes, there is that part, but season 7's Harry was a clone of the original, and I cannot. I've seen that often, but of course, now that I'm looking for it, it is it's not found. But I
Are you
yeah,
talking about the deuterium
nope,
clone?
mm-mm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
no, not even that
can't find it. Just talk about it. Just bring it up. Let's talk about it.
one. Right? Yeah, yeah. But no,
Challenge of the trivia master. Let's do this.
right, right. You know what I'll do? I'll find you guys go ahead and move on to the next one while I look for this, and then I can just jump right in with the aha, I found it.
All right, Dag. Did you want to take on the next one, number 8?
Oh, I'm happy to do this. All right, so we got this meme. It's titled like giving candy to a baby, and it's got Janeway all cool and self-righteous, probably in the engineering set. And the top line says, "Give the Kazon replicators? That violates the Prime Directive. Help the Borg build weapons of mass destruction? Totally fine."
Well, yeah. I mean that
yeah, totally.
fits.
I mean, if you recall, the whatchamacallit guys with the H, the Hirigen guys, they got a hold of replicator tech and they created a bunch of sentient holograms who were bent on killing organics. So yeah, let's not give the Kazon, who are arguably dumber than the Hirigen, replicator tech. The Borg, we're just going to give them weapons. They're just going to blow up the weapons. Replicator tech can be used for so much. Very bad.
Yes, yes, and so yeah, you're right. Janeway seemed to be pretty selective about how and when she violated the Prime Directive, and it wasn't only the Prime Directive, but if you recall, there was there's that episode going back to Harry Kim again, when Harry Kim ended up getting that disease, that infection, after having relations with another alien, with an alien female. And so, yeah, he got space herpes or something. I don't know. Uh, but yes, so basically, Janeway, dressed him up one side and down the other about that behavior and everything else. And I'm thinking, isn't this not the same woman that had a romance with a holographic character in Fairhaven?
Right. Well, she just does what she wants. What can you say? She
She's the captain, so I guess
Mhm.
yeah, do whatever the hell you want.
She has no one to answer to. Starfleet is far away. So, you got to do what you got to do. Do you agree with them helping the Borg? I've always wondered, like, what I
Um,
would do in that position.
I think it was. I really think it was a case of we have to go through Borg space. That was established in the first part of Scorpion, and Scorpion
Mhm.
Part 1. They got to Borg space, had to go through it, could not get around it. So they happened to find themselves upon an enemy, another alien species that were more powerful than the Borg. However, Janeway reasoned that, well, we could probably reason with the Borg, but we can't even communicate with this other very hostile species. So, and it wasn't their space she was trying to go through. So I think really she played the lesser of two evils on that and had to somehow keep the Borg off their butts while they went through this. I think it was supposed to take several years to get through their expanse of space. So, what are you going to do?
Negotiate with the Borg.
Yeah, makes perfect sense to me.
Now, this
What's
next one.
next?
Okay, so we've got number 7. I like this one. Number 7. Working harder, not smarter. And so you've got the EMH, got the emergency medical hologram here, the doctor.
Please state the
And
nature of the medical emergency.
you're going to love this because I never thought of this. Could download information directly into Matrix, reads data pad instead.
This really annoyed me actually when I was watching the series. Both times I went through the whole thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Doctor. He's one of the best, like, strongest parts of the whole show. But really, like, save yourself some time. What would be the reason why he would do that? Just to be more human?
Protocol 1. When you can act human, act human.
Well, Data did the same thing. You would think that Data could connect to the Wi-Fi and wouldn't have to screw around with the consoles all the time on the Enterprise.
Wi-Fi was outlawed due to the Khitomer Accords.
Wi-Fi was banned, just like what else was banned with the Khitomer Accords? That weapon,
that ISO weapon from Insurrection.
You're right. The isolinear weapon.
Not isolinear, it's isolytic.
Isolytic. Yeah, sorry. Isolytic.
An isolytic tear. And our warp core's dragging it like a zipper across space. Because they still have zippers in the 24th century.
Right. Well, no, yeah, they do.
No, they do. That's the weirdest part.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, you're right. 24th century, we still have zippers.
I was a member of a Star Trek role-playing group, and you guys know I constantly talk about this outside of the RP, outside of the chat, but I played an emergency medical hologram, and this was one of the things that I immediately integrated into my character's functionality. Was I'm never going to read anything, and I'm going to have constant knowledge of where every crew member is and their bio signs at all times.
It's actually really good.
Because I can.
Right. Why wouldn't you? Plus, then you just would be able to answer people's questions. Well, where's Big J? What's he doing? Oh, he's in the bathroom.
No, I mean, there were some limitations that I built in due to like privacy and to avoid God modding, but anything that was medically relevant to the character would be available at all times.
Oh, like if someone's having a heart attack, you'd be able to beam them to medical?
Right.
Oh. That's really clever.
There was one time when the ship was about to be destroyed after everybody had abandoned the ship because the EMH is integral to ship systems and we didn't have portable emitters on this ship. The commander of the ship contacts the main computer of the ship and transfers all command codes to the EMH, who then holds off the Jem'Hadar in a valiant sacrifice to save the rest of the crew.
So that's like the emergency command hologram.
Yeah, without all those cool procedures.
Right.
Hey, Marie, you want to read number 6?
Sure. So this one is probably my favorite one. So it's Galactic Redundancy. And it has Janeway, when she's older. And she, it's at the very end of the season where they go back in time. And so she's sitting there staring off, and and it says at the top, gets Voyager home. And then the bottom it says travels back through time to get it home faster. And I don't know about you, but that screams Janeway to me.
So this is actually the subject of a fragged episode that I'm writing.
Oh, great.
This is gets Voyager, it's basically the same concept. Janeway goes back in time to get Voyager home faster to spare the viewer from an additional 16 seasons of Star Trek Voyager.
Oh, I guess they had to come up with something, but I don't know.
Well,
Does anybody have any immediate how they would have ended Voyager if you had any thoughts on that? Without time travel and this cool, Endgame was cool, but it was kind of Deus Ex Machina.
Mm-hmm. That's tough. That's really tough. Well, one, and remind me that I don't understand what this gets Voyager home, travels back through time to get it home faster. I'm not immediately understanding that one. Like I don't quite get that one. But let me skip that for right now. So that's tough because part of me wants to say that yes, they should definitely be home by the end of the episode. But then another part of me says, okay, well, what would it have been like if they ended the series and just this kind of, Battlestar Galactica sort of, searching for the way home and never really getting there, or sort of a lost in space
Quantum Leap.
kind of. Right. Yeah.
Captain Catherine Janeway never returned home.
You're right. Well, the show was always about the journey. I think so, more about the journey, not the destination. But I don't know if I could have picked any way to do it. I still think I probably would have just gone ahead and played it safe and have them get home. Now, a lot of topics that I see about that very question is a lot of fans say, well, they should have been home by the end of the first hour, somehow or another, of the episode, and then spend some time on the post return home. And that kind of takes me back again to the show was about the journey, not the destination. I don't believe they ever intended on doing anything more than showing Earth in the background as they go to the end credits.
It's absolutely true, and I agree that there really would not have been a better way to end that, because you can't just debrief 7 years abroad in an hour of a 2-hour show. You wouldn't be able to get home in that first hour and then have everybody like, "Wow, you're home," and condense all of the emotion of the return into a single hour.
It would have been too much. It would have been just way too much to try to condense. And Star Trek fans, they still wouldn't have been happy if they actually did do that.
I had this idea that Voyager, an alternate take on Voyager would have been them shooting through the Gamma Quadrant to get to the Bajoran wormhole. And that would have taken that show through a different take on the Dominion and the other worlds there. And maybe Voyager helps create an alliance of Dominion subjugated worlds to fight the Dominion on their own turf. And then, around season 5, they actually execute some stuff that messes with the Dominion in the Gamma Quadrant that forces the Founder's hands along with whatever Cisco's doing, because that's the end of the war at the end of Voyager season 5. And then it's 2 more seasons of them going through the Gamma Quadrant to get home.
And that's a very interesting concept. But the counter that I've heard of that is from where they ended up, they were dropped off at the edge of the Delta Quadrant. Basically, there was a lot of, they did the math kind of things. And the time and distance to get from where they ended up in the Delta Quadrant to Earth, I believe was roughly as much as it would take to get to where the Gamma Quadrant end of the wormhole was. However, the problem at that time was that they didn't. I don't think they knew, or there was a guarantee that would be there. I also believe. I'm trying to think back as to the details of the counter argument, but that they did know of the Dominion, or at least by that point when Voyager left, they were known of. They weren't in full scale war, but basically the whole go through the Gamma Quadrant, get to the other end of the wormhole was, it's 6 in one, half dozen in the other, and it was not actually perceived as a benefit because they knew where Earth was to get to it. I don't think there was believed to be a guarantee that other end of the wormhole would be there, and I don't recall why that was a thought, but it really came down to, in this kind of discussion before, that heading straight to Earth really was the right call. But hey, it's I got to put my hands up. Like, whenever you give someone advice, you got to put your hands up. Like, well, what do I know? Just in case your advice ruins their life.
Marie, what do you think?
I'm just sitting here just thinking about it. Like, what would I have done if I was writing this? And, maybe I just really like alternate timelines and time travel too, but I didn't mind what they did. I mean, I do agree that I wish they would have covered the story arcs a little bit better at the end and kind of wrapped it up a little differently, maybe given it 15 extra minutes or so. But other than that, it was all right.
Shall I continue with number 5?
Please do. I like this one.
The title of this is Feeling Cute Might Violate the Prime Directive. And this meme is a riff off of the popular swerving into the exit lane meme. The signs for this swerving meme are straight ahead, cut 5 years off your 75-year journey. And to the left, do a bit of sightseeing, maybe violate the Prime Directive a bit, with Voyager drifting off into the the turn lane there. By drifting, I don't mean like drifting through space. I mean like Tokyo drifting.
They did a good
And yeah,
job copying
there
that
were
meme.
moments that were very interesting. Like there's coffee in that nebula. Like
Yeah.
coffee is really well. I
Hey,
suppose
coffee's important, Dag.
You're talking to somebody who has like 2 cups a day.
Right? You gotta have coffee.
Whew.
Well, and here's the thing that bothered me about the whole premise of the show, and this meme here is absolutely right. Every time a squirrel ran by, it was squirrel. Tom Payer set course for whatever random anomaly that's diverting us from our path, and they'd go investigate. I mean, I get that this is a once in a lifetime kind of thing, and that they can get all this data and science and exploring, et cetera, et cetera. But the thing is, still, you're in a pretty much an unknown quadrant. The only thing you know about it is that one of these days you're probably going to come across the Borg, and that alone would kind of make me want to haul ass back home instead of the sightseeing. Now, if it were to get supplies, provisions, or whatnot, because you got to remember when Voyager left Deep Space Nine to go track down Chakotay, ended up in the Badlands. That was they were not staffed or stocked for any kind of long range mission because that's not what they were about to do. There was no reason to be loaded up like you were going to go to the other end of the galaxy. So they were pretty much ended up there with not a lot to start with, and that was the thing was now granted the first couple seasons and this is a great explanation. When I heard this, it's this can change your life about Voyager. So if you recall, it seemed like for the first 2 or 3 years they kept kind of coming around the same aliens or even the same bad guys, in the Kazon. It would be like if you got in your car to drive across the Midwest, got to a random gas station, and saw somebody from your hometown. But like that happened more than once. So the numbers on it were just completely out there. Why are we still coming across certain people? So the theory that I read was that when Voyager got Neelix, they picked up Neelix was their guide. He kind of knew a decently sized area of space there. And what this person said was the first couple years, Voyager was basically doing a lot of big figure eights around in places that Neelix knew about as they were stocking, supplying, et cetera, before they really went to where no one knew anything about. And I said, that just blew my mind. That makes sense. They were not going for a straight line towards Earth at warp 6, 7, 8, whatever, and they weren't going straight line, and somehow continuing to keep getting running into Mach Kola and some of these other recurring characters of species, and that made sense. It was because they were just flying around where Neelix knew, and they eventually did do that. They eventually did head more straight towards home, and that's when we got that episode when Neelix was considering leaving because Voyager was kind of getting to that area of space that he didn't know about, and so he was about to lose his usefulness. Didn't think just being a cook was gonna cut it. I don't know if you recall that one, but yeah, there was a point where they finally were getting to where he wasn't familiar with. I just blew your minds. I can tell.
You kind of did.
I need Marie to do number 4.
Number 4. Well, to end up, before I move on to number 4, because this one is titled A Little Thing Called a Spore Drive. But before we get there, I did want to comment on, I can see where you're coming from, Big J. I agree with it. And, Neelix just had to do what he had to do. I think he probably would have stayed regardless if he is useful or not.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I'm glad it stayed. I just want to throw that out to you for anyone who was kind of wondering in the back of their minds as to, well, if they're more or less heading straight for Earth, why is it after 2 or 3 seasons they keep running into the same people? And that was why, because they were just kind of circling around areas that Neelix knew about because they had to stock up for the real journey back home.
Well, meme number 4 on ScreenRant.com. This one goes into Discovery a bit. And now that Discovery has came on, it really does make sense. So it says it's the same picture of Janeway with a cup of tea. Well, it's coffee, but it's kind of got like that drinking tea kind of meme that goes on. And it says, mushroom drive that can go anywhere in the universe. Never heard of it.
Well, and okay, so there's going to be spoilers here. I'm going to give some spoilers. So for anyone listening, now's the time to fast forward a little bit. So yes, you are correct that up until the season finale of season 2 of Discovery, and I'm talking like the last 5 minutes, they wrapped up that whole thing because you're right. For the entirety of the first 2 seasons of Discovery, I can't tell you how many times that came up. Why didn't Voyager just use a spore drive to get home? Okay, well, a few reasons. One,
Don't say it.
Voyager
I
was
haven't seen
filmed.
it yet.
Well, I'm not going to give. Dang it! All right, cover your ears.
Cover your ears, Dag.
Yes. Well, no, but he's going to have to listen to this podcast, and then he's going to hear it. But okay, so let me just tell you that there is a good reason, and I won't go any more into that.
I watched the season and I can't remember. I'm dying to know now.
Well,
Dag.
yeah, thanks, Dag.
Thanks, Dag.
just blame Dag.
It's all right.
Daggone it, Dag.
Dag can make it up for us by reading the next one.
I will be happy to do so. So number 3 is titled There's the Right Way and Then There's the Janeway. And this meme is a riff off of the smart guy gets thrown out of the business meeting meme. You've got the senior staff of Voyager sitting around a table, and Janeway says, "How can we get home as fast as possible?" And Chakotay says, "Let's contact our spirit animals." Tom Paris says, "We could turn ourselves into lizards." And the guy who's going to get kicked out of the window says, "Or maybe stop going on dangerous side quests and just fly home." To which Janeway is notoriously incensed, and the dude gets kicked out the window.
Oh, poor guy. He's definitely dead.
It's funny. It's unless he's Harry Kim, he'll be back.
That's true. Poor Harry.
Maybe that's why he's still an ensign, because he keeps saying like, hey, all these dumb ideas are dumb. Can we just go home already?
Yeah, can we please just go home? Jesus.
No, that's a good theory.
And I love this one because it's so true. Like, if I have to hear Chakotay talk about his people one more time.
Robert Beltran said something or tweeted something or something and was like, basically said the same thing. Like, if I have to do anything about Chakotay's spirit animals one more time, he was not happy with the way the writers wrote his character and the way, I think, just the way that it was represented on the show.
Well,
This is really awkward.
And you know why? You want to know what probably contributed to that?
No, we do want to know.
I want to know. I do not know.
Tell us, Big J.
Okay, so here's the thing about Chakotay in the character. Did you know, and this is another Dag, the Trivia Master, going to get you on this one. So did you know that there was a consultant, apparently a Native American consultant on the character, and I'm going to have to look up the guy's name. I'll do that in a minute. but it was a fake.
It's a fake.
It had to have been.
So this guy that was like consulting on the character, it ended up being, and this was discovered, I think, several years after, that he was a fraud. He was like not even Native American.
Right. Oh boy, that's just embarrassing. Oh, they just have this consultant and they didn't even do the research on if it was someone who's Native American or not. You think they knew, or they just were trying to make everyone happy for?
So yeah, that's let me look here. Let me okay, so the guy's name was, and I'm sure I'm probably mispronouncing.
Damake Highwater. Of course, Dag knew that. Dag's the trivia master.
Well, yeah, he was let's see, he was an American writer and journalist of Eastern European Jewish ancestry. So, and from the late 60s, claimed to be of Cherokee and Native American ancestry. He published extensive, and this is from Wikipedia. He published extensively under the name of what was it, Jamaki?
I believe we're going to butcher this name either way, so we would just like to apologize to anybody who actually knows how to pronounce this name.
Right. So basically, he spent a good time of his life posing as a Native American, writing about Native Americans, playing the part, et cetera, et cetera. And so yeah, it eventually came out that this was completely false. And yeah, this guy was basically like the consultant of the Native American people and whatnot for the character. And it was he's a big phony. He's a big phony. He's not Native American. He's a journalist of Eastern European Jewish ancestry.
It's just embarrassing. That's embarrassing for everybody.
Hey, fake it till you make it.
That's true. I guess so.
Put it on your resume. Let them catch you.
Don't hurt people or misrepresent them on a really awesome show for 7 years.
I agree. It's
That's
embarrassing. It's inexcusable almost, just because there has to be other people who are writing in telling them, like, hey.
Yeah, don't you think that someone who knows would kind of be like, hey, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever you've got helping you on this is wrong, and you start to be able to pick out some things if you're in the know. For example,
there's also like that appeal to authority kind of thing. If I'm the only person you know and I purport myself as an expert, and somebody else comes along and tells you I'm not an expert, and I tell you don't listen to that person, you kind of go with me because you've already made an investment in trusting me.
That's fair.
Yeah, you're right.
No, I'm not. Wait, it's not the time for that.
Right. Well, no, it really, and you're right. Unfortunately, that does kind of make sense. I can only imagine how frustrating it would be for me if I heard a character on TV that was supposedly coached and prepped and trained by someone who knew computer stuff and whatnot, and they had this person saying cache. You talk about the browser cache or computer cache. You hear cache and you're in IT. I mean, that just sounds like fingernails on a chalkboard. And I'm sure that's what anyone who was a real Native American was probably going through. Like, hey, man, something's not right. But I digress.
Jay, do you want to read number 2?
Yeah. Let me take number 2. Okay. So the title of this one is Geocentrism Gone Wild. So we've got a photo here of Janeway. This has got to be an outtake, like we're taking pictures for publicity, and this one's an outtake because you've got Kate Mulgrew in her uniform with just kind of this funny laugh look on her face. She looks like someone just told her a dad joke, and that's the look.
She totally does.
Yes, that is the dad joke look. So here we go. We've got captain of a starship believes the sun orbits the Earth. Okay, so I don't get that one. And it's up pretty high, so apparently I must be the only one who doesn't get it.
I don't really know either, but Kalina, the author of the article, she explains a little bit down below that Kate appeared in a documentary about it. And so it's pretty interesting that she would be a lead in, a science-centric kind of, show, but then participates in, a documentary about geocentrism. I did not know
Okay.
that.
So she phoned in a performance on a documentary that talked about that.
Right. What's the name of that documentary? Let's find it.
This
So
is where you have to do the over voice of Sir Alex Guinness being like, from a certain point of view.
good. Yeah, I'll have to do that also. So basically, this meme is more about Kate Mulgrew doing this documentary than it is to have anything to do with Captain Janeway. Maybe that's why I don't quite get it. That was for this to be on this meme. That's kind of a reach because
Right.
this is something that's completely outside of Star Trek and about something else that the actress did. I think I'm gonna have to disagree with this number 2 right here. It just doesn't fit. Like, okay, yeah, I get it. I'm sure she did that documentary, said that, claimed she got tricked, whatever. That has nothing to do with Captain Janeway.
Oh, she got tricked into it?
Well, that's what it says. The article. That's what the article said happened.
Oh.
I'm
That's
sorry. The
unfortunate.
article says that she claimed she was tricked into doing it.
The name of the film is called The Principal.
Mhm.
And while I can't seem to immediately in my cursory Google video search find a copy of that, there are a tremendous amount of criticism videos. Some of the thumbnails here feature notables such as physicist Michio Kaku and other people in the science community debunking the film itself. I haven't watched any of these to see if any of them say anything against Kate Mulgrew herself. But the top 3 results on the search for Kate Mulgrew geocentrism are her speaking out and declaring that she is not a geocentrist.
Oh boy, things that you
I-
can't imagine yourself saying.
When you need a job, you need a job.
That's true. Well, thanks for digging that up for us. Why don't you finish us off with number 1?
So, number 1 is aesthetically pleasing. Before I read it, I just really love these Voyager racing suits that Tom and Harry are wearing here. They remind me a lot of my favorite uniforms from Star Trek Online, with the white shoulder and then the red piping with fading into gray and black.
Where do they get these uniforms?
They replicated them, of course.
But aren't they supposed to be not screwing around with the replicators and only doing it for important stuff?
And that's part of the focus of this meme, titled Intergalactic Drag Racing. The top text reads, should be focusing on making technological advancements to get Voyager out of the Delta Quadrant. Decides to do some intergalactic drag racing to meet alien babes.
I mean, can you blame them?
Well,
wouldn't you? You know,
They look really nice. So
it's going to take 70 years to get home. What's another day?
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, Marie. They do look sharp.
in regards to Voyager's resources, what if they just put their regular uniforms in the replicator and replicated these? And then when this episode was done, they put these back in the replicator and got their other uniforms back. Ba, ba, ba.
No, they definitely should keep them and just like wear them sometimes,
Well, naturally, we never saw those uniforms again.
Yeah, but we can write a fanfic about it.
Another
No?
fanfic. Right, we already did that. It's called Star Trek Online. It's been out for like over 10 years, Marie. If you haven't played by now,
Make it so.
No, I have been playing a little bit of Star Trek Online.
it is
very
free.
little bit.
Oh, you have been?
Mhm.
Okay.
Right, I'm only level 10. I did a little stuff on Ryza, but I'm kind of slowly getting into it. We'll see how it goes. But the uniforms are nice. They definitely need to take some time for some, leisure activities.
You know what this article makes me want?
What's that?
It makes me want to do the top 10 times Voyager could have gone home, but Janeway said no.
Yes.
Like
I
three of
think-
them have to be Q showed up.
Right.
Q showed up the first time and he was like, "Hey, decide in my favor and I'll take you home." And she was like, "No." And then Q showed up again and was like, "Hey, fight in my civil war and we'll take you home." And Janeway was like, "Okay." And Q was like, "I lied." And then the
Yeah.
third time, Q showed up and was like, "Hey, Janeway, babysit my son and I'll take you home." And she's like, "Seriously?" And he's like, "No, but I'm leaving here anyway."
Oh,
And
I
Q's-
love all the episodes.
Q's son, played by Keegan Delancey, John Delancey's real life son.
Actual son, yeah. Hey, we should have a spin-off with Keegan Delancey and Daniel Stewart.
Oh my God. That is, how do you think of this stuff? That is great.
I don't know. It's up there somewhere. I think one of the hedgehogs has the day off.
It's got to be, because that is a wild idea. I like that.
Mm-hmm. I like it too.
So yeah, these were some good memes. I like them. They were pretty interesting. I think we should definitely get this in the hands of the person who wrote this article for Screen Rant.
Yes, thank you,
if-
Kalina.
Yes, I think she'll definitely like this. So yeah, this was a great read. It was pretty funny, and it really made you think about Voyager in probably in a new way.
And if you listen to this and you like what you have heard, feel free to click on any link somewhere that will include a direct link to the Screen Rack article so you can make fun of it just as much as we did.
Well, I don't know about you, but if you've got it, I could go for some Dag's Trek trivia.
Star Trek Voyager. Tom and B'Elanna had a daughter named what?
I know this one.
What
Oh,
is
I
the
know
big
this
thing?
one. I mean, I don't know it. I know it. I should know it.
Here's 4 possible answers.
Okay.
Is it Lursa, Bator,
Nope.
Miral, or Bio?
It's Morale.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, it was Morale.
Hess, being Ocampan, had a lifespan of how many years?
It was a very short amount of time. I'm gonna guess like something like 6 or something.
I'm gonna go with 7.
Both of you are very close. 9.
I wanted to say 9.
I did too. But I
As
thought
soon
it
as
was
I said
too close to
7.
7 of 9.
Oh, ooh, interesting. But no,
That's right.
yeah, I should have said 9.
And a did you know here? When the Ocampan people were being planned out in the production, the idea was to originally have them be very androgynous, much like the Janai from Star Trek The Next Generation episode, The Outcast.
I did not know that.
The next question. Eugene is the middle name of which Voyager character?
Tom Paris.
Pretty easy because he's like the only human male American guy on the crew.
Right, yeah. Harry, Eugene, Kim, get back to the station.
Well,
Harry's
Tom
middle
Eugene-
initials are actually SL.
Harry S.L. Kim.
Harry S.L. Kim. Check out the Memory Alpha page for more.
Interesting. Today I learned.
I didn't know that either.
So, okay, let's jump away from Voyager here really quick. Marie, give me a Star Trek franchise.
Oh, we'll just go with Deep Space
I don't
Nine.
know any of them.
Star
Big
Trek
change.
Deep Space Nine. All right. All right. In the Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode, Trials and Tribulations. Do you know this episode?
Yes.
It's the one with the tribbles on Deep Space
Yeah.
Nine.
Yeah.
On what planet had Arn Darvin been stranded prior to arriving on the Defiant?
Ooh, even I'm drawing a blank on this one.
Here's some options. Is it Kronos? Is it Cardassia Prime? Is it Galorndon Core? Or was it Beta Z?
I'm gonna guess Cardassia Prime. Close.
Bing, bing, bing. You are correct. Arn Darvin had been stranded on Cardassia Prime after the outbreak of the Klingon Cardassian War.
That's right. That's right. He was stranded.
Did you know? Actor Charlie Brill reprised the role of Arn Darvin over 29 years after doing it the first time in the original Triple episode of the original series.
Yep. That one I did know.
Tribbles are great. Do you guys like them?
They're like lazier cats, if that's even possible. They don't really do anything but sit there, kind of like cats.
I wrote like a really short fan fiction for the Star Trek Discord. They had like a contest. Yeah. So, Tribbles are great. You guys just got to give them another chance.
I hate Tribbles. They're furry and boring, and they get everywhere.
They do get everywhere.
Okay, Anakin, what are your opinions on sand?
It's warm and it's lovely to squeeze between my toes.
All right, Big J, let's do one more trivia question.
Okay, one more.
Give me a franchise.
Okay, all right. Let's do Enterprise.
All right, Star Trek Enterprise. In what city was Dr. Phlox stationed before serving on Enterprise?
San Francisco.
Bing, bing, bing. Didn't even need the options.
Great.
Well done. You
Good
guys
job.
need Star Trek trivia.
Thank you. Thank you.
Not as quite as good as you guys know it, but I'm getting there slowly.
Yeah.
You know what? It's not like I have a PowerPoint deck of a couple hundred slides.
Right. it's not like he has these on shuffle ready to go.
Oh, well, it was nice meeting up with you guys about the memes. I know the article's just published recently on Screen Rant. Do not look at this on your mobile device. Please look at it.
Oh, for the love of
on
God, do not
computer.
look at it on your mobile device.
Do not do it. Just don't. Just go to screenrant.com directly on your computer and take a look at it.
And don't forget to stay tuned for more segments by Beyond Trek Podcast.
We are Beyond Trek Podcast. Lower your inhibitions and surrender your years. We will add inspirational and hilarious Trek content to your day. Your attention will adapt to subscribe to us. Resistance is futile.